Hi, my name is Melanie. I am the founder of BrainWaves Consulting. I'm a solo grant writer, and I help researchers find and write and submit grants. And in particular, being based in the Bay Area, I help a lot of startup companies. One problem that we've encountered is they just don't have the infrastructure that universities do. And I help them with a lot of things that a research office, a sponsored research office, can usually help a university with. And that includes sourcing, submitting, doing all the terrible administrative registrations, all the way to submitting sometimes their first grant, sometimes their 50th grant, and help them raise non dilutive capital. It's funny because my use with Atom coincided with a lot of changes in the federal government and, in particular, the research environment. As many people know, there was a change in the administration and it resulted in a lot of changes and, I would say, restrictions in grant funding. Before I came to Atom, what we usually did is we would help companies write small business grants, federal grants. We pretty much knew the lay of the land. You would use grants.gov, sometimes pivot to find federal grants for companies. And really, it was the same few that we were looking at. But with the pausing of federal funds, specifically the pausing of the small business grants, a lot of businesses were left high and dry. They couldn't apply to the grants that were like their working horse grant. And so we had to start looking elsewhere. And that's when we had a lot of issues identifying good fit grants. There aren't that many grants out there that for profits qualify for. And second, there's no one database to just go look through foundation grants specifically for research. And so that's the problem and the gap that we had before we turned to Atom. One, it was the ease of use. I want to make sure it's user friendly because I've definitely used some non user friendly ones and it's you don't even want to use the software. Not just the UX UI, but also just the workflow is very easy. Second, I really like the semantic search. I think one of the first things I told you is that if I could imagine a software for finding grants, this is how I would want it to look like. The semantic search allows you to look at opportunities that maybe you hadn't even thought of yourself in maybe different programs. Having the little, why is this a great fit, is really helpful. And so I think that's what helps me think about strategy for my clients. I can give you a quote, which is literally from one of my clients saying, "Oh my God, I had never even heard of these opportunities. I don't know how you find them." And so, being able to find foundation grants for research that companies can apply to, that's something that I don't think that anyone else has offered me. So it's been a game changer for that. I think it's also changed how many grants I'm able to write for people. At the beginning, I would talk to people and they would say, "Oh, we want to keep pumping out grants." And I'd say, "Oh, there's not that many. I'm not sure." And then the small business grants have been paused for months, almost 6 months. One, definitely the number of grants I'm able to write people has tripled, which is a lot. So I've been really busy, and that means I'm expanding my business quickly because I'm able to just find more grants. Finding more opportunities has been able to increase the number of grants I can write, which means the number of clients I can help. I would say that every single company I've worked for, we've been able to diversify our funding workflow. Using a program like Atom just gives us that hidden competitive advantage for an already very competitive environment because we have something like Atom at the front of our workflow.